Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm just gonna start the stream with a song. I will be putting the link up there. What was this? What was that one? Yeah, we'll be putting a link up so people are more than welcome to join.
Have you heard about the immortal Lord of Drink?
I've just been organizing some photos. I'll give it a minute. Invite, there it is. Hey there, Earls. Good to have you back. I hope you're done with your chores. And you got time now to chill with me for a bit. There it is. Hey there.
How you doing, sir? Trying to get things set up here a little bit. Just got done.
Hey, Mini C.
Sorry, I got my computer going too. It's probably giving you a bad echo in there. Apologize for that.
No, it's probably a bit of me. I got the sound coming through and picking it up, so I've got the headset on for when I got guests.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
No, you're right.
No, I was just going to say if I click my camera off, it's just because I need a little bit of medicine. I'm just trying to be respectful, so just bear in mind.
Appreciate it. Hope everybody's well. I haven't got much other than what I was discussing earlier today that we can touch upon. I have got some media, some images we can have a look at, and I may pull up a few videos.
Hey, boss. Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Are we doing Bible study or just kind of hanging out chit chat?
Hanging out chit chat.
Okay, I was gonna say we'll do Bible study. Let's get it open with a prayer. But either way, I'll just say, may the Heavenly Father bless your program today, keep you rock solid and sound, give you the words that He would have you say. Either way, whether it's biblical or modern day, let's speak the truth and let's hope that our Heavenly Father gives us the words we need. Amen. Thank you, sir.
Amen. Absolutely. Thank you for that. No worries, Minnie. I'll see you in a minute.
Mimi C.
Mimi C.
Yeah, I'm a little familiar with her. I know her a little bit. She's followed us around. We followed her around a little bit too. So yeah, she's a good gal.
Yeah, I don't know where I got the N from.
Oh, that's all right. I'm dyslexic, man. I transpose vowels and consonants and numbers, names. I flip flop names. It happens. I just you work through it. It's all good.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And eventually, after getting it wrong so many times, you do get it right.
Yeah, especially when you pay attention to yourself. When you realize it, like, we just take a deep breath, start over. We're all human. We all make mistakes. It's all good. Love it.
Absolutely.
That's how you learn. It's how you grow.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, it's by looking back at your steps, and realizing, like, thinking about what you've been saying or what you've been doing, where, like, by judging yourself, do you go forward? Um, one subject that did come to mind, obviously, if you don't want to disclose any of it, it's up to you, but because I know you were saying that you were experiencing some spiritual attacks.
Yeah, it comes in a lot of forms. Sometimes it just comes in form of being frustrated. Sometimes, angry, sad. Just the thing is, what I see and what I identify is like you find yourself in a, let's say you're frustrated about something or agitated. Whatever you want to describe it as. Like anybody, I can get caught up in that, just get mad at the moment, whatever, you stub your toe or, you drop something and break it, makes a mess or whatever, something gets a hold of you. But I find myself sometimes getting more frustrated or more angry than I should. And that's when it hits me, that's when I take a deep breath and say, okay, what's going on here that would have me feeling, and, it's hard to look inward on yourself. It really is because, by human nature, we want to justify our position, justify our anger, frustration, sadness, guilt, whatever. We're always looking to justify it. And the hardest thing to do is look inwards on yourself and understand, where am I going wrong? What have I done? If anything, have I provoked this, inside myself?
or is it
Um,
or is it from, like we touched upon before, that is outside forces
yep.
infiltrating our headspace, and
Yeah, I was going to circle to that. Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, but finish up. Yeah, that's where I'm getting to for sure.
absolutely. And I, likewise with me, I found myself at work, and um, I just be my head would be filled with all sorts of curse words, and I'd just be like, just almost like judging. I don't even know what, but I just
Yeah,
be just like you say, being in an aggressive,
anything.
yeah, aggressive mood. And like you say, you just have to take that moment to just retrace your steps, so to speak. It's like, well, I've got I've got no real reason to feel this type of way, and like you say, you address it, and you just say a little prayer, just like, Lord, I guess I'm struggling right now. I need your presence to help me sh- uh, li- shake this mood, lift my spirits, so I can proceed with my day and right frame of mind.
Yeah, the biggest thing is being able to identify it when it's occurring, and for me, it's like, okay, if I have no valid reason to be as upset as I am, or angry, or sad, or whatever emotion you want to apply to it, you 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 learn to identify these things, and the big question I ask myself is why am I struggling with X, Y, or Z? Why do I feel so uptight or angry, whatever emotion you want to give it? And if I have no real good rock solid reason, then that's how I relate it to a spiritual attack. Because
Ab-
if I can't if I really can't rationally justify feeling very strongly on any emotion that we possess as humans, if I have no rational explanation other than love, you can't. I don't think you can rationalize love except through the Word of God. But all the
It's,
other
unco-
emotions that we feel,
it's unconditional. Like with love, there's no
yeah.
condition to be set. It it's like a frame of mind, and um, and it's just like being in a happy place. Um,
Hello, Spunkfish. I just want to say hi to your guest. You just showed up. My
yeah,
name's Ron.
welcome to Spokefish. He's a regular. I see him on a lot of different
Spunk is
panels.
it? Is Spunkfish? Is that right? Did I get
Yeah,
it right?
yeah, that's
Okay.
absolutely.
All right.
He's one of my earliest subscribers to my channel. Um, he definitely recognizes the world as very satanic and spiritual in nature, um, yeah, he's always been a pleasant guest for sure. Um,
Good deal.
But yeah, yeah. I I want to touch upon really the power of prayer. Like as Christians, as people followers of God, we have to, from my understanding, it's a blessing to all of us, and definitely very powerful. Is something that should not be underestimated, because from my experiences, like I've been praying a lot recently, like as much as possible, and keeping him in my thoughts and in my mind, and recently, where I've not been smoking weed as much, my dreams are starting to come back to me, and I thank the Lord for having those experiences. One night last week, I was having some trouble getting to sleep, or it was just taking me a little while, and in my mind I'm thinking like, oh, I wonder what I want to dream about tonight. Like, I wonder what I could ask for from the Lord to enlighten me, or to go through. And and I don't know if it was me that really asked this question, but in my head I said, like, Lord, I want to know about the devil. I want to know like something, like give me like an image, maybe not necessarily his image, but um some enlightening on the subject. And coincidentally that night, I had a dream about zombies.
Yeah, yeah. You can manifest it too, though. You know, you can manifest it yourself by not having the right frame of mind when you lay down and go to sleep. You know, that's why I always encourage you to read Ephesians 6:10-20. You
Yeah.
know, you do it in the morning, start your day, and then end your night that way. Because I'm not perfect about it. I forget all the time, but you know, it gives you it's one last thing to put in your head that's from our Father's lips right before you lay your head down. And because when you're asleep, now this is just my opinion. I'm going to share my opinion here, but I believe that when you sleep, your subconscious brain is far more active than your waking brain, clearly because of sleep. But what I believe is that there's like a thinning of the veil between this world and the spiritual world while you're asleep, hence the nightmares. I guarantee you those nightmares are not of God,
No.
not unless he's giving you a message, you know, directly, and you would know it. There'd be no mistake in it.
Yeah.
But short of that, you know, these nightmares, I've had nightmares my whole life, ever since, you know, I was a little boy, when things started going crazy in my life, and continue to go crazy for almost my entire life. I've had insomnia since I was 5 years old. Extreme insomnia at sometimes. You know, I went 17 days once with 2 hours of sleep.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it runs in cycles. You
And
know, it manifests in a lot of different ways, and you got to be really honest with. It's tough, but you got to be real honest with yourself and figure out, you know, what's driving this emotion, whatever that is inside of you. What's driving it, and how to identify it, and then put it in its proper context. Me, I like to say, okay, well, I'm having a bad day. I'm a little frustrated because, you know, I broke a tool. But I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm just going to put the frustration in my back pocket, take a deep breath, say a quick prayer, and just move on. Because, you know, dwelling on it, being angry, sad, whatever, you know, you're wasting your time. I mean, it's cool, get it out, you know, speak about it, and then just let it go, put it in God's hands, move forward, because that's the only way you're ever going to move forward in life. You know, just not let it anchor you to the ground. You know, I shed
yeah,
those anchors and chains and let go and just keep right on moving.
well, a lot of the times, from what I've understood, when I was looking into part like lessons to be learned in prayer, like, and how best to, or how the mindset in order to be getting the most out of it. And um a lot of the times we're thinking about things that we don't have, or we're thinking about um like you say, negative situations. And it's always best to just to think about, well, the good, the good in that situation still. Like even though you may not have things that you used to have, you still have to be thankful for the things that are still operating and working, regardless. Welcome back, Mimi. Spunkfish said, very true. The third 3D world is being controlled by how do you say Malik?
Malign.
Malign Satanists. Very true. And that's just it. A lot of people are awake to it, and some people don't want to address it. It's too much. It's too much darkness in order for them to want to like observe. And I can understand that if you haven't got the protection, if you haven't got the Lord by your side, you can find yourself lost in those rabbit holes, and see no light at the end of the tunnel. But that's just my idea of that situation. Like, I'm not saying that is the answer. That's just my best way of explaining it.
We got to get our own answers. That's what's important. That's the big deal, is quit letting people tell us how to think or what to think or how to say it, and talk to each other, figure each other out. But ultimately, we figure it out for ourselves. Because I can't be responsible for your salvation any more than you be responsible for mine. Unless I mislead you. But that's why I preface everything with saying you got to make up your own mind. Forget what I'm saying. Forget my name altogether. Think for yourself. Research, read, study the Bible. Put our Father first, and everything else is going to come natural.
Absolutely. And even if you're like, if you do attend like online churches or like a physical church, that you shouldn't rely on that pastor and his messages to deliver onto you. You can take that in, but it's just like with all misinformation that is around in this world, you need to look it up for yourself. Go to the scripture, because as much as I could be quoting this from the Bible and quoting that, you need to go there and physically read it for yourself, because for all you know, I could be lying to you.
Yes, absolutely. I look at a church like just a place for spiritual knowledge, spiritual study, just to kind of get someone else's perspective. But you should never walk into no church house, internet, physical building or other and take for truth whatever somebody tells you, because just because they give you an interpretation of the scripture, that's their interpretation alone. They're not speaking on behalf of God per se when it comes to sharing an opinion or what they would believe, even a revelation. You can share it, but like me, if I have an experience or something I'm gonna tell you straight up, this is this happened to me, and this is my truth. But I'm not telling you it's your truth. You got to make of it what you make.
And that's the same with some of the subjects that I've been touching upon today already. Like with the information that I've been given out in my previous video, with about 5G potentially being released on the 19th of the 1st. That's just rumors. Like you shouldn't. As much as I can bring this to your attention, and I feel as though that it could potentially be something. Everybody should do their own research.
I'm gonna have to put something up there so they can't. I'm sorry, hang on, I gotta mute my mic.
You're right. Yeah, everyone should be looking into it for themselves, but not something to really dwell on. I think a lot of our attention should be focused on the Lord and what He says. And obviously, we at the same time we should still be vigilant of our adversary, the devil, because he likes to deceive, and he's the most cunning creature that exists. Yeah, he's very very manipulative. So I've got some images I'm going to share with you guys. These are some photos from when I was in Oxford. I'm just going to get the stream up on the iPad, just so that way I can still read the chat. whilst I'm displaying this all. Yeah, there I am. Turn this down. Okie doke. Minnie, you're going to be a moderator. And say, Spunkfish, you are already. So welcome to the team. If anybody has just joined, welcome, and feel free to either leave a comment or jump on the panel. I'll let everybody have a choice, a chance to speak their minds, as long as it's not too disrespectful for people. They're causing a little ruckus, I see. So right, I want to go. Right, yeah, here we go. So I want to go share screen. Boom. Alrighty. So the first image, can't get any bigger, is a very old picture. Doesn't look that good quality even from where I'm looking. But this used to be the map of old Oxford. Used to have like walls. If you can see where my mouse is, walls like the eastern wall, western wall, to kind of separate the lands around in. And obviously you had the inner walls, which housed the castles and people's property. A lot of originally, from my understanding, Oxford, I think this is a better quality picture to look at, is also known as Oxenford. There we go. That's a bit better. So that's not really good. This one's a bit better. Yeah, Oxford. And here you've got like an E on the end. I guess over time they've taken away the E. And I'd imagine during these days it would have been more the medieval times when the Doomsday Book, kind of existed, where they documented a lot of people's land and property, and also what they owned in terms of livestock. This one says Chester at the top, and here you got the lion and the unicorn, the red and the blue on this what appears to be I forget the name of it, something arms. But yeah, a lot of Bloods and the Crips, gang symbolism. Here we got Oxford map again. Not sure. I think this is the year 250. Yeah, I think this one's dated. I don't think.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Yeah, shoot.
Where did you find your resource material for the Domesday book? It's actually Domesday, not Doomsday. Domesday. Domesday. Yeah, so you would have it would have double O's if it was a
Yeah.
The it's Domesday. Where did you find your resource material? Because we're having a hard time getting, stuff that you don't have to pay a buttload of money for.
Yeah, I get that. I think I either got mine from I started to just have a gander on the YouTube.
We were looking for the actual text, like looking for like a PDF file or some non-for-profit organization that had that resource available where you could read it in an originally translated format.
Yes, yeah.
If you run across that, man, let me know, because it seems to be something that's kind of kept under copyright, and I don't know if there's much out there in the public space for it.
No, and that's just it. Like, like they treasure information, so a lot of it is going to be kept secret. If you notice here, this looks like Pan. It's got like a water.
Mm-hmm.
water symbolism,
Wow.
like mermaid almost. But then he's also got the flute, and this thing's frozen over. Like it was real
No,
cold.
it's two things in one. It's like a chimeric hybrid of a cherubim and some kind of water serpent or something. That is trippy.
Yeah, and
Wow.
this was at oh look, and you got the frog there
Where's the frog
on the
at?
right. The frog's over here on the right.
Oh, the
Ne-
frog
ne-
statue, and then a couple.
frog.
That looks like a real tortoise right there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
the
very
big frog.
detailed. Big tortoise, little tortoise. This was at a property I was working at when I was in
Wow.
Oxford. This
Really?
this is the couple that own the property. And one thing that speaks out to me is her hand sign. It's not massively obvious, but it almost looks like the 666, but not massively. It's
Typically, when they're really want to distinguish that, they will enhance that. It'll be subtle, but it'll be usually it'll be indistinguishable from an accident versus someone trying to put a point across.
Yes, yeah, and that really looks quite subtle. I mean, it
Now
doesn't.
there are some like if you look at some of our founding fathers, going back to 1776 and Philadelphia and all of Boston, all the different documents, ratifications, things that were done. There's paintings and things to commemorate that, and you can see some very clear symbolism, and then there's some very subtle stuff in there too. But it is also unmistakable. But you have to have a sharp eye to see it.
Yeah, and yeah, and once you know what you're looking for, a lot of these things I forget what they actually mean, but they're things to look out for. Like especially when it comes to like Freemasonry, like hand signs and stuff, and handshakes. There's certain types, and
Yeah, you
also
can
like
research anything Freemasonry to figure out what all those signs mean. There's there's the second veil when they put their hand inside their vest like Napoleon Bonaparte used to do, and then they do looks like the OK symbol over across the eye, or the Baphomet horns where people like to say, oh, it means I love you, but it's just an iteration of the Baphomet sign,
yeah,
or
yeah,
Lucifer, Satan worship.
and even the anteater, like it's like that hand symbol. Forgive me, Lord, for that. But like yeah, there's so many different versions of hand signs that yeah they interpret it as one thing, but
Yeah, it's
really
dual meaning, triple meaning, quadruple meaning. There's
yeah,
meanings within meanings within meanings. You bet.
exactly, and that's also what I find with words. Like you hear one word and that there's so many there's one word that can describe a bunch of things all in one, and that's also like with the Lord, like he's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Like he's more than just one thing, and the same for us as human beings. I mean, we can um we can take on so many different positions. Like we can be a father, we can be a brother, we can be a husband, we could be a friend.
So the thing about symbols and meanings, the same applies, in my humble opinion, to the good book. I mean, because you and me could read the same chapter, same verse, and take two totally different meanings. It's just God's gonna speak to us in His own way, and the evil is always, we talked about this earlier, evil always does the opposite of what our Father represents. It's always the anti God or anti-Christ, it's anti everything.
Yeah, exactly. And or they're trying claim it as being like you say, the opposite, like something that is good.
Have you ever
they're
seen
using
the
it for their
inside
nature.
of the Vatican Hall? Have you ever looked at a picture inside of that?
Is it got like checkered floors and stuff?
Pull up a picture of it. It'll blow you away. Do an image
Okay.
search on Vatican Hall. It's
Yeah,
where the
yeah.
Pope talks every day. Usually every day. They have audiences and different things in there. I follow I follow his channel in Latin and I follow his channel in English, both out of, broad, they're the channels that belong directly to the Vatican.
Yes.
So whatever you get out of there is coming, that's their content. That's what they're, what they're showing you. But as far as just doing an image search on Google for Vatican Hall, well, I'll let you just pull it up and see for yourself what you think it looks like. I don't want to, I don't want to muddy the waters by injecting my thoughts into your head.
No. You're absolutely right, because the Vatican are very
It's the inside.
important.
It's the inside of Vatican Hall.
Well, important to the Vatican are important to the elitists and the powers that be, like the spiritual wickedness that exists. Mimi C, you're absolutely right. Their symbols give them away. Symbolism give them away, and when you see those symbolisms in these places like the Vatican, in churches, and in everyday life, it's in our media, it's in our television programs, and it's in plain sight. I think there was a movie called Eyes Wide Shut. Oh, you got it up?
Yeah, Eyes Wide Shut. Absolutely wide shut.
Yes, I have seen that.
What appearance
sorry.
of? Do you see an image in the? Do you see an image in there, or does it just look like a wall background to
It's
you?
like a snake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty obvious, isn't it?
I have seen that picture before, and he sat right. How do I make the guest full screen?
I don't know if that's gonna work. All right, no good. You see that right there? I might have got disconnected. I don't know what's happening. You still there? Hey, hello. I don't hear him. There he is. We still going?
Yeah, we're here. Yeah, there's no worries.
Everything went dead quiet.
Right. It's because I removed myself so that you could you could see.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just showing you this one here. This is in that hall, and it sits directly. He sits in a chair.
That chair there. There he
right
is.
There.
And look at them. They're all wearing black, and he's there wearing white.
I wanted to ask you a question. Have you ever seen the movie with Keanu Reeves and the Italian guy? What's his name? Al Pacino. Jody, remember it? There's a movie called The Devil's Advocate.
Yeah, I've seen that movie.
And the guy who plays the devil up there in his penthouse suite in his office, he has a desk, and right behind his desk is a piece of wall sculpture. And later on in the movie, it comes to life because it's demonic in nature.
Yes.
And I cannot help but every time I see this image, that's all I can think about is that movie, The Devil's Advocate.
Because there's a line in that movie where it's like he's a fan of man.
Yes.
And he's like you don't think the 21st century wasn't entirely his works. Like,
exactly correct. Why does he have that same thing? I mean, it's not identical, but man, the resemblance is striking to me. It literally creeps me out.
Yeah, but and that's just it. There are no as we know already. There are no coincidences. Like they put these things in our media, in our movies, for a reason. And it's for the people that have eyes to see, and
the troubling part of this.
What's that?
I'm sorry. I don't mean to talk over you like that. I'm sorry. The troubling part to me is that, the real part, I guess the knowledge of, coming awake to certain things is, once you know the history, once you start researching history, going back, 4 or 5 almost 6,000 years, and you start from the beginning and work your way forward, and you want to start understanding the origins of, say, Christianity going to the Old Testament all the way back to, Adam and Eve and Noah. But you study paganism, Satan worship, the origins of that, going way, way, way back in history. And when you start seeing these things, once you educate yourself on where the origins of things lie and how they've reiterated themselves over and over again in history, you start to see it again play out here in real time in this day and age. And once you start, the bad problem is once you start to see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah, and it makes me it reminds me that what men never learn from history is that men
Yes.
never learn from history.
Did I ever tell you my thought on war?
Yes, I think you have. But
Wars ain't
tell
fought
me
for
again
land and
because
territory or resources. Wars are fought to control the narrative, control history, burn books. Every major warfare in history, there's libraries burned, document storehouses, the Library of Alexandria, the Parthenon in Greece. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. The Mayan culture, the Spanish conquistadors totally destroyed all their codexes and all their religious texts. Just a handful survive. I mean, literally a handful. There's only a few. I think several of them reside in Germany at a museum. And it's just unbelievable. These wars that are fought over and over again, and it's to destroy history because we're kind of teetering on the brink of something right now in Europe. There's a lot going on over there with Ukraine and Russia and the Crimea region. Now, Spain, or not Spain, Switzerland's getting involved. And there's a lot of saber rattling going on. Who knows how it's going to turn out? But it's been 80 years since we've had a major global conflict. World War I and World War II were not even. I don't think they were 2 full decades apart.
no.
And every all the tough guys on the block have been spoiling for a fight. And
Well, yeah.
history always repeats itself. It's cyclical, and the next great war won't be about they're going to say it's about oil or about green energy or whatever they want to label it. Bottom line is they want to control the narrative, control history. And if you think about World War II, for a perfect example, there was 200 that they admit to. There's 250 million people died. Now, if you think about it, most of the older people, like under the age of 60, because when they have a major global conflict, they draft everybody. Everybody fights it. If you can carry a rifle and walk a mile without dying, they're going to conscript you into armed services somewhere when things start getting wild. And so you got ages 60 all the way down to the ages of 12, 13 years old. I mean, the Nazis were known for the Hitler Youth and all these different small countries throughout the world that use children as soldiers. So you take all the there's really, really old people left above 60 and really, really young, say under 10. And so all the knowledge that was learned since the last major conflict is all wiped out again in the next major conflict, because anybody who has any memory of what is left is the older people. They're going to be long gone before the younger people come up and are able to remember the stories of old, what happened and why. Because once major conflict happens, whoever wins the conflict gets to rewrite history.
Yes.
And that's just, that's a fact.
And
you can't deny that it's happened over and over again for thousands of years in this world.
Yeah, and there's an old saying, standing on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah. Our ancestors.
Our ancestors, and they want to erase that history. They want us to forget about our bloodlines and our forefathers, so that we don't know who we are, and we don't know the great achievements and things that we've done in our past, and the credit just seems to go all to the system, go to the government, because they're the ones that are educating us instead of our families and forefathers, who are being eliminated, like you said, in these wars and in these battles, and forgotten about in our textbooks.
Mimi, she said their symbols give them away. She threw a comment, and I'm just trying to keep up. I'm trying to teach myself to watch the comments. I'm not trying to inject in your show. I just try to respond to people and let them know that I'm paying attention as much as possible. So I'm getting used to technology.
This photo here, we were driving back from Austria. We drove from the UK, got onto a train that went through a tunnel underwater, and we drove from France to through Germany to Austria, picked up a caravan, and this is us driving back. And these clouds, it was like as we were getting closer and closer to the UK, it was like we were hitting this wall of like
It's like a
smog,
okay,
um,
yeah.
and it just
So
goes to
did it
show
go
that
from warm to cold or cold to warm when you met that
yes.
transition? Yeah, okay.
Well,
You got a
we were
high
in the car.
pressure and low pressure system. I
We
mean,
were in the car, so we like we probably didn't notice it as much, but as we were approaching, it was just this big wall of like it was almost like a dust storm, um, and it was just
oh man, here we go with that.
incredible.
I'm sorry, I can't help but laugh when I see that. You know, because and dude,
How many?
I get so many planes that fly over my house.
Yeah,
And I know they always say it's this and that, and they want to give it one label or another. But what I can tell you, I see with my own eyes every day, and I got binoculars. I walk outside with them all the time because I bird watch. I all kinds of stuff. I pay attention to like about everything I can.
yes.
And I watch these planes fly overhead at the same altitude, several miles apart, but I can see them up in the horizon. And one of them, I mean, you can tell they're at the same altitude. I mean, within 5,000 feet of one another. And
Mm.
one of them's got all this stuff coming out the back of it, and the other one's got nothing. And then
Well,
I've even watched them come on and off. So it's like, okay, you can't say it's just heat from the jet exhaust based on their altitude and air temperature creating water vapor. I mean, at some point that becomes a big pile of garbage. When you can sit there and watch it you can watch it start and stop, and you can watch jets at the same altitude that don't have that
well,
stuff coming out the back.
that's the narrative that they want to give because I've got a friend who works for Airbus,
Okay.
and he believes it, like or he's trying to deceive me into making him like in making me think that he believes that to be true because I don't know
Well,
if he's got a big if
the
it's
thing is,
quiet.
though, is when these people are going to school, these trade schools or college or whatever, whatever you're studying in, they train you to just recite and regurgitate the information and statistics and whatever. And nobody ever questions, so where did they get these studies from? I would
Mm.
like to see those studies. See, people are lazy mentally and physically. Then they don't want to dig deep into it because you tell me something and I'm like, okay, well, if you say there's something coming out the back of them, I'm starting to look up patent numbers. I'm looking up all the research I can find. Are there doctoral studies attached to this information? If you do find it, where was it researched? Who funded the research?
Mm.
You got
Exactly.
to dig deep into it and really understand. And okay, well, if say, let's just pick a company at random. Let's just say Pfizer researches something or funds something in research. Where's their angle? I mean, they ain't just funding research just for fun. They're funding
No.
research for profit. So where's their profit margin and how are they going to get there? You have to ask some fundamental questions to understand what drives a person or a company for that matter.
Yeah, absolutely. Like what's behind it all? And like obviously he works for the company. He's been there for about 8 years now, and his feet are firmly planted. Like it in working with them, and like I guess he wouldn't want to say anything to jeopardize that position. And I get that, but at the same
It
time, it's
happens
like,
to us
well,
all for sure. I mean, we all fall subject to it one way or another, whether it's, a car payment that, you really can't afford or a house payment that's too much or, whatever. We all fall subject to it in one form or another. We always get grabbed a hold of by, this narrative that people want us to abide by. Even some of the things I've been trained as being a carpenter or, see, that was a problem I had with a lot of places I worked is that, they didn't let me think outside the box. They didn't care about creativity. They just want you to do exactly as you're told, even when you know that you could do it faster and far more efficient, more productive. And, it's hard to thrive in an environment like that for someone who has a lot of free will and has a brain that likes to think.
yeah, exactly. And the great thing about our brains is it's limited in how much we can comprehend and how much knowledge that we feel that we have. Because even though we've learned something, um, like there's so many answers and so many things that we don't understand. We like to put words or concepts behind those things and put everything under a microscope and really try and get derive some information from it. And there are a lot of smart people out there, but a lot of these people are turning to the scripture. They're getting the science from those books, because as much as they do their experiments, a lot of it is just reconfirming what the Bible has already told them.
Yeah, it always circles back. Earlier when I was saying, like when you talk about history and looking into history, and you start seeing things and you can't unsee them once you start to understand how things have played out, over the millennia. And it really grabs a hold of you. And so, like me, I got a really curious mind. So the more I see, the more I research. But for me, the problem I have is you start. I mean, I guess in a metaphorical sense, you start going down a rabbit hole, because you can't unsee the things. And when you start to see things for what they are, at least as you as an individual could see something and understand something, you end up with, for every question you answer, you end up with, at least me, I end up with like hundreds more.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's fun. It's like a scavenger hunt for information and history. But yeah, that's a conundrum I'm faced with every single time I start studying, is I have more questions than answers. But that's what keeps you thriving and banging down the road. And you end up eventually learning a whole lot of something about any one topic that piques your interest.
Well, it's like keeping your house in order. Like once you start putting things to task, and you start, like you go clean the windows, and then you go sweep the floors and do your washing, and then after a little while, you got to go back and do all those things again. Like there's always work to be doing, and you can waste a lot of time just trying to do the same chores that you've been doing all your life. We're not wasting time, but you're trying to take care of the things around you. But a lot of it is out of our hands. So like you have to seek help from elsewhere, or you just let it be for a little bit, and then give it some attention when you have that time. So these are photos when I was in New Zealand.
Can I throw something out there to follow up with you while you show that first photo?
Certainly.
The other day I believe we talked about the mark of the beast, and this goes along with what you were just saying. And mark of the beast could be a physical mark, like a tattoo, or a chip or whatever. But we also mentioned that if you look at some of the older interpretations of that scripture, going back 1,000 years or even older, to earlier when the scriptures were originally written, the mark of the beast on the forehead or on the hand, the right hand, could also represent thoughts and deeds. What you think about is also taking a mark, and what you do physically is also a mark.
Yeah.
By not living the word. So you've also marked yourself.
Yeah.
without ever physically taking an actual mark the way we look at it in modern terms, because in much more ancient terms, it was looked at totally different. Thoughts and deeds.
Yeah. Well, and that's just it. Like, and that's why we always go back to the law, because, like, obviously we follow the law, even though we suffer as as a consequence for breaking the law, and it makes me think of the scripture where it says, where do you find a man that complaineth for the repercussions of his sins. And I'm not quoting that correctly. I might have to pull it up in a minute. But like, although our path may not be tainted, like we have free will, so we have the choice to do good, or we have the choice to do bad. But once you decide to take that path with the Lord, you know that
Whoa, what is that?
This was in
museum. Is
Is
that made of jade?
I don't think so, unless they've colored it. But usually they've got quite a lot of jade. That would be really expensive piece.
Well, if it was like jade or soapstone, or is it stone, or do you know what it is?
I'm not sure. It was just in a museum. I guess it was from from a Maori tribe. And
Where was it? Where was it from? Do you remember what part of the world?
in Auckland in New Zealand.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, this is trip from New Zealand. There's me like
Kiwi, buddy. Yeah.
Kiwi, yeah, and Maori.
Yeah.
Like this is like that was one of their boats.
Wow.
My brother and my dad just walking past. But yeah, touching back to what I was saying. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I get caught up in art and historical stuff.
But yeah, like we have the choice to do good or to do bad, and obviously if we do bad, then we suffer as a consequence. But once we realize that like no sin can be unforgiven. Really, I didn't know that. Yeah, no sin cannot be forgiven, and obviously the Lord knows that we will sin again, even though if we are saved. But there will always be repercussions for breaking the law, so to speak.
We reap what we sow. You can count on it.
Absolutely.
Tenfold, usually tenfold, good or bad.
Yeah, and
Now I had a saying I grew up with, and I'll try to keep it PG-13. But one screw up will mess up 10 attaboys in a hurry. So you get a slap on the shoulder, attaboy, good job. One screw up will get rid of 10 attaboys right now.
Yeah.
It's tenfold, tenfold every time. You reap what you sow. You act like a dummy, you get treated like a dummy. You do bad things happen to you.
Exactly.
You manifest it through your actions, thoughts, and deeds.
And that's something that is like a slow progression into like adulthood, because I've had friends and like grew up with people that I've like gone to school with and stuff, and a lot of them, they hold on to their past selves, to their childhoods, and just love to bask in that nostalgia, so to speak. And I'm just like, really, like, you still want to talk about them days? Like, I'm here now. Let's go make some more memories. Let's go and enjoy the day. Why are we still
It
living in
depends.
the
I guess
past?
it depends on the context, though. So, like me, I'll give myself. And I agree with you that some people dwell on things way too much, but some people have a story to tell. And one thing I've learned about my life is, because I've been pretty much on every side of the fence that you could even think of. We've done fairly well for ourselves in our respective careers, and we've had a lot of things that I never thought I would have in my life. But we've also shed ourselves of all that stuff and just said we don't want to participate in that rat race anymore. It just some stories are worth sharing, and so long as they're shared with the proper context and not focusing on the negative, but what can this story tell you, and by me sharing this story, can it give you something, an inspiration, a piece of hope, anything that would help motivate someone to take decisive action to improve their situation in this world. I mean, that's really what drives me to share my personal stories, because I mean, my life story is just unbelievable, but it is what it is, and I like to share it with people to help inspire them. Say, hey, no matter how hard it is, no matter how crazy life gets, if you stay focused and you keep pushing forward, man, you can get somewhere where you never thought you would be. It just takes time, and it takes patience, and putting a good foot forward every day you wake up, and know that you're going to fail and sin, but keep moving forward.
Absolutely, and it's a reminder of the saying you learn. Life is understood going backwards, but can only be lived going forwards. So obviously,
Yeah.
and I think that speaks true to what you've just been saying. Then, from my interpretation of that quote, is like, we bring up our pasts, and we bring up the things that we've experienced and lived, to demonstrate, obviously, the people that we were, and the people that and also the things we've gone through. But as much as these troubling times, or these troubling stories have been presented to us, we need to focus our attention on going forward, and not to dwell on the feelings and
The feelings is what gets people.
of the
Man, that's a
past.
good point. The feelings, you know, is separating the rationale from feelings and passion or, you know, historical knowledge. But people have a difficult time removing the emotion from it and just looking at it for what it is with a calm, rational mind and quit attaching feelings, tribalism, political belief, socioeconomic belief. You just got to wipe that stuff away and look at it with an open philosophical mind and say, what does this mean right here in my face? I don't need nobody with some fancy degree telling me what it means. I can figure it out for myself. All you got to do is just look at it and take the emotion away from it and say, what is this saying? It's easy to
Yes.
get there.
Yes, and that's not to say that is invalid, because obviously past times we've had like had to endure and go through tribulations, go through tough times as well as the good, and I think a lot of the times we can dwell upon the bad and forget about the good. Good times, almost as though that they're invalid, so to speak. And yeah, like sometimes I can go to places, and then like the Lord will remind me of like my past self or previous feelings that I've had of joy and experiences that I enjoy, that really humbled me at that time, and that like mindset I've not really been like thinking about those things for years in a lot of circumstances. So this
Yeah, it's
island,
just good to remember. I'm sorry, go ahead. I'll
no,
let you talk for a while. I'm gonna mute my mic. I want to hear about your pictures. It's more interesting than what I got to say, flapping my gums.
no, this is why you're here, brother. Like I appreciate everyone being here with us and enjoying the time to speak honestly and share what we have to say, because the Lord blesses us with knowledge, and the more that we turn to Him, and we turn to the Scripture, the more confident in our ability to serve Him. But these pictures are from like this island in particular was we like rented for my brother's wedding. I didn't rent it personally. My brother obviously organized it all. He lives over in New Zealand. I think possibly in the last 5 years or 4 years. He was accepted residency in New Zealand, so now he is classed as a Kiwi, even though he was born and bred in the UK. He's been working there for a long time. Like got himself a work permit, and making a life of his own with his own family. I think he's recently had a boy called Leo. I think that was he's probably about a month, maybe 2 months old now. So I pray that he's doing okay. I need to reconnect with him, but I just have to find the time. But yeah, a lot of this was when we were spending time for the wedding. I think I've only been to New Zealand twice. I know that doesn't. I know that sounds a bit. I can't think of the word. I've only been twice. Like some people have never left the country. Hey there, Jody. Nice to
Hi.
see you.
Yep. Hi, Streets. Good to see you. He stepped out for a second, so you're stuck with me.
That's all right. You having a good day?
Yes, sir. How about you?
Very well. Yeah, I'm very thankful, and it's been a really productive day.
Good. I've been following along, so you're doing good.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been like earlier. I was talking about some darker subjects in relation to current times that we're in. So I thought I'd bring some light and some joy to the atmosphere.
Good.
good balance.
Yeah, we all need good balance.
Absolutely. This photo here, there's like a mountain and this like rock formation here. I think it's like like Monkey Mountain or something, but it's meant to like it used to look like a monkey's head. It used to have like a nose, but like the Egyptians, a lot of their noses were removed. So I'm not sure if if that's either been removed or I've not got a good angle on it. But these photos were taken from the North Island. I've only ever been to the North. South Island, I understand, was used to film Lord of the Rings, and it's a lot different in the landscape, and so I've been told. Oh yeah,
It's interesting you bring up that mountain. I just want to speak on that for a minute because there's when we were married in Fiji, and they had this place called like Mountain of the Sleeping Giant or something. And I don't know if you've seen, throughout the world, there's all these mountain ranges, and they look like there's giants laying down.
Wow.
Have you seen that? You should look it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna take note of that now. Actually, well,
It makes me think of the Nephilim.
One thing that comes to mind is Mount Rushmore. I think with where you got like the
presidents, yeah,
faces and stuff. Like, yeah,
well, that's definitely man-made. These other ones that I'm talking about are not man-made at all.
No, it's more natural.
More natural.
So it's like mountains. I got Nephilim, mountains. Sorry.
That look like giants, basically,
like giants.
laying down, sleeping giants.
Okay, look, sleeping. Wow, no, I've not seen them, but definitely be something to look at. This is from Auckland. My brother, he was living in Wellington at the time, so that was only about half an hour's drive from the main city. It didn't have a good feel, like when you were amongst the public. I felt a lot of spiritual attack from my experiences going through the city. Mimi C, the Lord of the Rings has something to do with Saturn. Okay. I know it's obviously got the tower with the Ocean Eye. Earls brought that to my attention in one of our previous conversations, and that's obviously representing the Ocean Eye. And we got Dearest Dawn. Yes, there's an island shaped like Tafiki,
maybe
Tafiki from
Moana.
Moana. Wow. They've got like a quite a big tower in Auckland, and right at the top it's got like a spike, a bit like in I think it's New York, where the tower that replaced the Twin Towers after its destruction. They put a new building in place, and at the top again it's got like a point, like a spiked point, and somebody had put a picture of a syringe next to the tower, and they basically looked identical, and that somewhat comes to mind when I think of the tower in Auckland. Right at the top, you get into like an elevator, and you go up to the top, and it's a casino. People go there. When I was there was quite a few Chinese people, and they would just sit there gambling, like poker, and Russian roulette. That's another one that they would do. This was like a memorial, probably to do with the Second World War, people that had lost their lives to help defeat the Nazis. But and also there was a tree which had a sign near this memorial, and basically it stated that somebody, there was a public hanging had happened in the area, because the gentleman had committed a crime of murder, I believe, and so the way to deal with that individual was they publicly hung him from a tree.
It's terrible.
Yeah, and history is filled with a lot of dark, twisted stories. That unless somebody's taken note of it, it gets forgotten in history with the wars, as Earls was speaking upon earlier. There's so much that we're lulled into like a false sense of security.
Oh, for sure. They try to ruin it and destroy it and burn it, and kingdoms fight to, make sure that another kingdom's name never, progresses forward, and they try to erase all parts of it.
Yep. And it's all for control. It's all to keep possession of that grand narrative. And instead of actually physically going out and taking care of us, which I think we're slowly getting to a point with all this 5G. A lot of what they want us to do is to lose our heads. The more that we turn on our radios and we switch on our televisions for information and news, the more that we get deceived and just
absolutely
filled with emptiness. This was a statue, a metal sculpture, and it's a little boy, and he's pulling a sausage away from a pig. So this is like a little baby pig. I just thought this was quite dark. Because why would a pig be in? Well, maybe it's not sausage. Maybe it's a carrot or something.
It looks like sausage.
Yeah, he's got like a little 6 for a tail.
Yeah, that's strange. Where did you take these photos?
Yeah, this was in my trip to New Zealand. That was in Auckland.
Where was that particular statue located?
Probably just out on the high street, like
like in a public park, or was it?
Just no, just like a public, like outside a load of shops. I think this might be some chairs where people just like have some coffee or something. Because this was also on the floor. I just had to take a picture of it because it's
really strange
from a movie.
But that's one of the interesting things about stuff like that. You use your mind and you just kind of put the logic that you have towards something and try to figure it out. I know last night we were on Brainbug's site and he was showing some odd videos, and you know, everybody in the audience was just kind of guessing what they see. And, you know, it's, if you put, you know, one of was like looked like someone was running across the yard like a goblin or something. And if you put logic to it, you can say, yeah, maybe you can rationalize that it was just this or that and it's no big deal. But if you really start looking at things, in my opinion, it's the mechanics of things don't look right. And then you really start having more questions.
No, exactly. And yeah, like there's some creatures and beings that people have managed to record, and the speed of which they can move, or like just the posture, or even just how unnatural it seems to, like, in comparison to what we comprehend with other species and what we already know. It really does just leave you speechless, really, because it doesn't make any sense. Mimi C, pigs are cannibals, chickens too, yikes, cannibals and children. Yeah, and that's just, they always like to take something innocent and corrupt it. They try and yeah, they want to take away that innocence, and supposedly the 5G that's said to be coming. Children are no longer going to be able to become children anymore. They're going to be yeah, I don't quote me on that. But I don't know exactly what that means. But I think it has something to do with the mark on the forehead, so to speak. That well, we're not going to be able to escape from those thoughts. But this is the tower, and during the night it would glow red. And as you can see, it's a bit misty. It goes up into a point, and these glass windows here, that would be for like the restaurant, I think, and like some of the casino. It's all in this this building, and it all just looks like a giant syringe.
Yeah, it's definitely strange.
This is back to the island photos. Absolutely beautiful place. There's some places in New Zealand, especially where the Maoris were living, where it's almost like taking a step back in time. Like you can imagine that they probably don't have any Wi-Fi or even running electricity in some of these places, and it and the racial tension when I first went to New Zealand, going back maybe about 15 years ago, was rampant. Was really bad. Even going through like the town centers and stuff, and I guess a lot of it was earned, because of what they've done to that land. Like the white man, in their, from my understanding, had invaded their land, slaughtered a load of their people, so that they can take control and make it their own. Happy to hear you guys enjoy the night crawlers at Earl's. And like there'd be some beaches where you dare not go to, depending on the color of your skin, supposedly, for fear of being attacked. Obviously this could just be rumors, but I've heard of one story of a guy approaching said beach because he had to, and being attacked. Obviously we like to see the good in people. We don't want to judge judge people by the color of their skin or their ethnicity or backgrounds. We want to give them a chance. And personally, I've not felt threatened by anybody whilst I was there. But it's always good to bear these things in mind on your travels. Welcome back, Earls.
Hello. I had to take my dogs out and give them some supper. They're getting a little rammy, whine a little bit, so I get them running around a little bit, and feed them.
Yep, I know. I had to feed Rex before I came on.
We've been busier than a three-legged cat trying to bury a turd on a frozen pond all day long. So they've been neglected a little bit. So I had to go out and give them some loving.
There was something that came to mind. Oh yeah, that was it. So obviously I've been doing learning about my words and trying to understand the meanings behind the words that are in the Bible. And dogs came up just now in our conversation, and was also mentioned in the Bible. And it, from my understanding, dogs is Gentiles, but also
I believe that's in that old Bible we got. It's got some translations and meanings of words.
Yes.
So dogs being Gentiles and what else?
Impure person.
Impure person.
I have to type it in. I'm terrible at words.
So like one of the 1889 Bible that we have interprets wolves as jackals. It also interprets Babylon outright as Rome. Yeah, straight up. That's exactly what it says.
And obviously,
and everybody thinks of Babylon as ancient Samaria. I mean, that's the way we're taught history. At least that's the way I learned it. Was everybody thinks of Babylon as the Middle East or ancient Samaria, one of the oldest cuneiform clay tablets that they've had. Thousands of them they found. They said it was the oldest written language and all that. So they've always associated with Babylon, but it says outright in this Bible here that Babylon is Rome.
Yeah,
makes you think a little bit. Why did they interpret it that way?
Well, exactly, and
doesn't mean it's truth, but why did it makes you want to ask more questions?
Well, and it's put there for a reason, like
yeah.
And especially if these books they hold meaning that has context behind it. And
have you heard of the first and second Great Awakenings? Have you heard of those in history? If you haven't, you should look them up. I guess you could simplify it and equate it to a cultural revolution, so to speak. The last one that occurred was the Second Great Awakening, and it occurred. I think it ended around. I think it started in the late 1770s, maybe 1780s, and then I believe it ended around 1810, 1820. But this was like a Great Awakening. It was like a big cultural revolution globally. And there were some big leaders back then. One of the ones that really stands out is a gentleman by the name of Martin Luther, and the Great Reformer or something. He's got a bunch of associations with his name. But when we're talking about these interpretations I'm speaking of in the 1889 Bible, which was 60 years or 70 years later, after the Second Great Awakening. So there was a cultural revolution. So you have to go back and look for older texts that predate that time and predate even the First Great Awakening, which wasn't too far behind the second, by the way. They were fairly close together in time. It wasn't like they were spread out for hundreds of years. It wasn't like that at all.
No.
And then there's a lot of people modern day right now in real time that are saying that we are in the midst. Now this is a personal belief, but they say we're in the midst of the Third Great Awakening.
Yeah.
Right now.
No.
Now.
Yeah. I've heard similar.
That doesn't make it so, but it's certainly trending that way.
Because this is then leading us into the Great Reset that we were talking about
Agenda
before.
2030 by the World Economic Forum. I mean, it's the big, the Green New Deal. It's a whole kit and caboodle all rolled into one giant freak show that is, in my humble opinion, setting the stage for something that nobody's really prepared for.
No.
I know that everybody's got their political and religious beliefs one way or the other. I'm just looking at what's occurring around the world, what people say out of their own mouths. It gets a little confusing sometimes. It gets eye-opening at times. People are pushing, certain agendas in a very forceful manner. It sure gives you pause and makes you want to think and reassess what you're actually seeing, and not believing everything you're told.
Yeah. Well, but also that, like, going back to what I was saying with Jody, is like we're lulled into a false sense of security that, like, we're in a greatest time age of man, and we're so advanced, and
I want to comment real quick. Brain Bug, he's got some really good input. Always does. If that's all right with you,
yep.
he says the Great Awakening was a reaction to the Enlightenment, and we would have butted heads back then too. Yeah. Well, that's good to have good discourse. The other comment that he put there that was real good was the Enlightenment was a response to the Inquisition. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of atrocious things that happened during the Inquisition, including here in the U.S. I believe it was in the 1600s when they had the Salem witch trials. Maybe it was in the 1500s. I don't know. I'm getting that time frame a little wrong here. He says, what else? Cultural waxing and waning from spiritual and intellectual. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think we're in the midst of that right now. And, the neat thing is at least from my position is I love to hear other people's point of view and take it into my bigger picture, because what I've learned for sure over time is that my beliefs on the world, my positions on, religion, culture, education, they evolve over time. And, you ultimately just have to determine what your individual truth is, but you can't do that if you have a narrow mind and you box yourself into one single frame of thinking, one single school of thought, one single category of indoctrination. Because if you do that, you shut yourself out to the rest of the world. You forget your history, you forget your family, your heritage, you forget world history in the bigger picture. That's what's scary, because when we forget where we come from, we have no idea who we are and we have no idea where we're going. But what schools of indoctrination and politicians, world rulers, and leaders, they tell us what to think and they tell us what to do based on their own individual agenda. And I don't subscribe to none of it. I like making up my own mind across the board. And I got beliefs that you could call fringe. I have theories and thoughts that you could call fringe, but I've been fringe my whole life, so I don't mind it. People label me all the time,
Yep.
in general, and we label each other. I'm guilty of it. I label people too.
But that's just it. Like, like, although I have these ideas and concepts in my head and I believe them to be true, like, even things that we think that are true are lies. And like you say, when we cut off other people's opinions, we're basically judging them to think that we know better.
I like to
And
hear what people think. You bet. Hey,
absolutely.
Dearest Dawn said they also changed the dates of the calendar. Yeah, so the Julian calendar to the Georgian calendar is exactly 13 days different.
Wow.
13 is an interesting number because that lines, I mean, it's just, there's no
Rebellion.
proof. But yeah, rebellion, but it also goes back to the Knights Templar when the Knights Templar was disbanded. Friday the 13th, that's where the whole, skepticism and lore of Friday the 13th being an unlucky day.
Yeah.
And it doesn't occur very, very common. I don't know exactly how many occurrences on average a year, but it's not very common that it happens. But it's interesting. It's a fringe connection for sure. There's no documents to support it anywhere, but it's just how you want to interpret the world. What is your individual truth? Because you can look at it from any position in the world and just declare from the rooftops, I know this to an absolute certainty, but nobody knows anything to a certainty. I mean, any test can be skewed, any schools of thought can be skewed. I've seen it play out my whole life. It just depends on how you want to perceive the world around you. That's what
Absolutely.
makes us uniquely different.
Absolutely. And like, although these groups of individuals and
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at the comment from Rainbow.
we
That's pretty cool.
yes, as much as these groups and these secret organizations, they exist, and you don't hear them on a daily basis within the realms of, like, a lot of the media that we indulge in. The symbols and the meanings are still there, like in the movies and in in the media that they're just subtly put in front of us, and unless you're paying attention, like just seeing a cross like that, a red cross, it's gonna be nothing to you. You're gonna think, oh yeah, it's probably got something to do with Christianity, and it's like, no, like that's Knights Templars, like.
The crazy thing for me about is, because I love history so much and I like reading and studying things. I've run across things that's has really shaken my faith. I've never denied it, but it certainly put some distance between me and my faith, because when you start perceiving things a certain way, whether it's, worldly things or monetary things, academic things, sometimes, something will grab a hold of you and it'll shake your world up a little bit and make you perceive things the way you might not necessarily thought things were. And then, that can change too, back and forth over time. It just depends on, how much you want to read, how much you want to educate yourself. And, really individually, the tough part is, how open-minded are we as an individual? I certainly got areas where I'm closed-minded. You can count on it, especially when it comes to my faith. I believe what I believe, and I know what I know because I've lived through experiences that are absolutely undeniable. I've had things, just experiences after experiences that you just can't say, oh, this is just a total random set of occurrences. I've just seen things that are just mind-blowing. So, and I've lived through things that are mind-blowing. So, everybody can feel a certain way about that, but at the end of the day, it's what is your individual truth is what really matters. Because whether you have faith or none, if you think you're a random chance of occurrence and you're just gonna die and fade away into obscurity and you'll never be, and that's the end of it, well, then that's great. You can have that position. I tend to think that some of the theories, and especially one of the things that get me now, I'm no astrophysicist here, but they say the Big Bang is a Big Bang, right? It just occurred out of nowhere. It occurred roughly in a perfect vacuum of nothingness, and the largest explosion to ever occur occurred out of nothing and created all known matter as a pure, random, spontaneous event. And well, that's kind of funny because it kind of says what Genesis says, is that God created the heavens and the earth, and it happened in a very short time. So I guess you could call it a Big Bang, whether you're a non-believer or a believer. I think either way you could look at it.
Yeah,
that's one of the things I struggled with as a young man. Because I was subscribing. I knew I had faith, but then I was subscribing to the school of thought and Darwinism. And I'm like, well, if the theory of the Big Bang is correct and the school of thought of Darwinism is correct, and that means outright the Bible is an absolute affront. It's a fugazi. It's just not real. So it made me think about things like well, what's real and what's not real. What does history say? What does science say? What does modern culture say? What does ancient culture say? And the funny thing is, this is what really blows me away. Is the deeper I dig into history, the more curious my mind gets. The reality of the Bible, you can't get away from the Bible the deeper you dig into history. Everywhere you go, it references you back to the Bible in some way. Major events in history are all related to religion. And I'm just not willing to accept that what I've experienced myself and what history tells me, all these wars have been fought over religion in one way or another. You can say they're resource or borders or boundaries, but everybody wants to kill in the name of their perceived maker. And by the way, I think, what is it, like 95% of all people on the planet Earth believe in some higher being of some sort. So, I guess maybe 9/10 of us are crazy. Let me see. We see another thing coming up here. That's
I'm
cool.
glad you brought this
sorry.
up.
It is absolutely important for mankind to have the ability to look at things at a lot of angles without adding bias, and having the ability to use your own base and ability to use your own base reference. Absolutely. That's a rocking point. That's where I'm coming from all day long. And he said, we need to talk about theories of time. They will blow your mind for real. Yeah, I love, spatial orientation, time frames, moving at the speed of light, and what that does, with the theory of relativity and the theory of special relativity. It's fascinating. The string theory, I am blown away by string theory. Quantum entanglement to me, wow. you want to go down a rabbit hole, start reading about A theory and B theory. Now, I don't know if I know that much about it there, Bug, but I want to hear more about it if you know more, because quantum entanglement means faster than the speed of light.
Yeah.
It's like at the speed of thought, if
Wow.
you want to put it in simple terms. Now, that's just my humble word there. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
quantum entanglement, as it relates to quantum physics, is a mind-blowing concept.
Well, yeah, and that's just it. There's a lot of
Thank you, Mimi.
these are new to me, and like some of these subjects.
Take
But,
a couple hours and read about quantum physics. Take an hour to read about quantum physics, just get your head wrapped around it, and then take another hour to read about quantum entanglement,
yeah,
and then maybe another hour to read about string theory. Wow, it is
and that's
really
just it.
cool
Like
stuff.
even when when you touch upon these subjects, like, it's not something you're going to pick up in the first 15 minutes of going through this information. Like, even when I'm touching upon like the subject matter that I've been discussing through, trying to bring light onto my understanding and what the Bible has to say. Like, even my perspective is limited, so it's always good to have other people's opinions to bring to light these subjects, because as much as I feel as though I know things, I'm still quite foolish, as I a lot of times I'm doing a disservice with the subject matter that I'm bringing. But I do appreciate all concepts and ideas, because I think some of
Expand your
them,
mind.
yeah, some of them do have relevancy, to a
You
degree.
bet.
Obviously, I can entertain it for so long, but then, like, again, I'd
I look at
rather
it. I look at an
derive it
opinion
from.
like a gemstone. It's got many facets. So an accepted, let's just say it's an apple. But you can look at that apple through a single lens, or you can look at that apple through a kaleidoscope or a faceted gem and look at it from dozens of angles. That's really when you start expanding your mind, and not just focusing on one belief or perception, but to look at many different angles, many different opinions. And but it will really help put you right in your world, for your individual truth, what makes you happy, what makes you tick. That's what makes me just get up and motivate every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a day without learning and a day without laughter is a day wasted.
Very
And
much.
like, yeah, I unless I've got facts to back up my claims, then a lot of times I'm just going to be listening and keeping quiet, because unless I know something about the subject, I really can't talk too long.
What's cool on these live streams though? We can do this together. Like we could do even like Mimi right here. She says, "Everyone do your reading and let's get together again?" Question mark. So that's a great thing, because that's what I want to start doing on my channel. And if someone has a question about, like I'm talking about whatever space weather or something like that, and I'm just giving generic descriptions on here, read here, look there, and understand it for yourself. But if someone says, "Hey, Ron or Earl or Orkney, whatever they want to address me and say, well, what about this subject here?" And I'll be like, "Oh, well, I don't know anything about it, but let's look it up together and we'll do it. We'll live stream it and let's just figure this out. Let's do some reading together and
Yeah,
see what it says."
because even when you start to indulge in it, like, and start to take in that information, what you find is, although you may not get the terminology that's being spoken from the get-go, as you start to dove into it, it's things that, like, that you've already believe in, or that you feel as though existed already. And,
I'll
like,
give you a quick example when you're done.
yeah, going back to like the speed of thought and things like that, that when we're born as babies, there are motor functions and things that already exist within us, in order for us to operate and function. Like, we've got mouths in order to feed from the breast, and like our eyes are moving, and we're breathing. I mean, if we had to concentrate on breathing for for an hour, like we'd forget and we'd die.
I
And so
asked my mother that question when I was a little boy. I said, do I hold my breath when I sleep?
yeah, you
I
could
was like 4 or 5. I remember asking her the question.
exactly, and it's like, yeah, there's so much that are operating within us and around us that, like, truly we take for granted, and we truly don't comprehend how fascinating and how well designed this universe is, and like that you can boil it down to a bang happened, and then we're just some mold on a rock. um like it doesn't complete a story for me. Obviously, I'm not giving it the credit that it's deserved, but there is a lot of things that are really beyond our comprehension. But it is fascinating because it is fascinating that there are a lot of people that have spent the time and just focus their energy, or like focus um their time
Let me
in
leave you
into
with something on that thought.
different realms, or like the processes in which things take place, and how best to operate within those fields. But I'm just babbling on about stuff, so you can jump back in.
No, it's cool. It's cool. Your thoughts matter. I mean, I just wanted to leave you with something maybe that'll blow your mind a little bit. I mean, if you have a really curious brain, uh, one of the ways I like to look at a piece of information that I find interesting is I'll look at it from a Christian perspective. I'll look at it from a paganistic perspective. So, what do these two cultures, or schools of thought say about it? And then, what does modern history say about it? And then, what does ancient history say about it? And then you have a 3, 4. I mean, you can spin this 5, 6, 7, or just look at 2. But I look at as many as I can find, as many as I can conceptualize, and then I'll take all the information from individual, take some notes, or just, I got a great memory, so I can remember what this one believes and that one believes. What's their big picture idea of how these things are believed in, and what is their science or mythology that backs these concepts up. And that's how I decide my own. I don't let other people tell me, this is accepted, that ain't accepted, and this is what 9 out of 10 scientists say. I mean, I flat don't care what 9 out of 10 scientists say. I just don't. I'm going to get there myself. Now, I will listen to them, absolutely, because their study and their dedication and devotion to their careers are absolutely relevant. But just because they say it so doesn't mean that I have to accept it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And you have to yeah, you have to take things with a pinch of salt. And like you say, you do your research, because as much as you can take information and derive it from one field, the more that you understand other cultures and other people that have also touched upon these similar things. um, like even with these mythological creatures and beings, that, like, there are so many different stories from different cultures, that um that have these similar similar concepts of these beings, and they have their own names and understanding of how they became to be. Now, I was recently speaking to a guy at work, and he was telling me about some UFO sightings that had happened in Oxford. Well, not like that. He had basically witnessed some lights up in the sky. He went out for a smoke, the bit smoking a bit of cannabis, and I can't believe for a minute, after my years of experience of smoking that stuff, that you're going to hallucinate and start imagining these things in the sky. But
I've
he
smoked a lot of cannabis. I've never hallucinated from it. I felt ill from smoking too much of it.
yeah,
But I've never
no,
seen anything. For the only time I've ever seen anything was when I was way younger. I used to do LSD, but I haven't done that in decades. But
precisely, yeah,
yeah, that's
and
the only time. And actually, of all the times I did LSD, I only hallucinated once.
yeah, exactly. You need quite a bit in order to get something from it, and so he was telling me that he witnessed these lights at night flying about, and he was by himself at that time. And then another time he went out and spoke and was like speaking to the guys he's working with. He was like, I seen these lights up in the sky one time after leaving you guys, because they were drinking at the pub, and he doesn't really drink. He smokes more, so he just wanted to have a smoke, get settled back, and go to sleep.
Sorry,
And
my dogs are making a ruckus in the back.
that's all good.
Brain bug, 420 somewhere all the time, man. Hey, I will say this. I didn't really want to say this, and I know there's a lot of people that like to judge people about smoking cannabis, and they say it's a gateway, to other things, and that certainly can be so. That depends on the constitution of the individual, though. I will say that before I moved to Oregon, I was totally on board with modern medicine, right? You got a problem, they go and they give you a medicine for it, or a procedure, whatever. And after, I don't know, 7 or 8 years on different pain medication, I never took real strong ones, but, I had a lot of injuries and surgeries over the years with my career, broken bones and tears in my stomach lining, and, just a lot of crazy stuff. And the more of the medicine I took, the more out of shape I became, the harder it was to maintain my health. I moved to Oregon. I got off 100% of all prescription medications. I was on 5 at the time, 5 or 6, 5 for sure. I quit taking everything altogether, and I used only cannabis or cannabis-made products that I actually in Oregon, because the laws are very liberal now. I was able to make my own products, lotions, tinctures, rubs, whatever, infusions for food, however you need to take the dosing to deal with either, physical or, mental things like, when you're stressed out real bad. That's what I like about cannabis is it gives, for me, I tell people in very simple terms, it just turns down the noise in my head. My ears ring constantly from tinnitus, from work-related hearing damage. And it helps calm that down. Got to smoke a lot of it, but
it even helps people with
my pain, anxiety,
pains,
hunger. If you have problems eating, which I do sometimes because I was exposed to a chemical when I was incarcerated, and they never gave me medical treatment. They refused medical treatment. Left me laying prone in my room for 3 days until I was able to get up and move again. It was a really harsh chemical too, and I've had permanent damage to my stomach because of it. So sometimes I can't eat. Cannabis helps give me my appetite when I'd otherwise go days, sometimes many days without eating.
Well, yeah, but
it's not good for your health to live like that. Your body's constantly crashing, and your metabolism is shooting way up, and then it shoots way down, and your blood sugar's up, your blood sugar's down. It's like living off the land hunter-gatherer style, hand-to-mouth starvation one day and feast the next.
Well, your body
it wreaks havoc on your body.
Yeah, because
cannabis helps with a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, and there's people that like suffer with like epilepsy and stuff like that. That it like calms it down. Like people,
especially
that
the high CBD strains help good with all forms of epilepsy.
Well,
very little THC content. Some they have a new strain that I believe now is fully THC free. One of the first real ones that was profound was Charlotte's Web. That was great for people with seizures. I got off all my pain meds too, dearest Dawn. I got off pain meds. I was taking, for the first time in my life, after all these surgeries and all those medications to counteract side effects of other medications, I eventually started having I don't know what you call it, anxiety, like just for no reason whatsoever. And I just couldn't focus. I couldn't work. I couldn't pay attention. So I started taking, like a Xanax or something. And I'm like, I can't take this, like a dang sedative. It's like, it's like someone hit me with a tranquilizer gun. I just got to be another way to deal with it. I can't be, and cannabis was like, boom, done. No problem. Just, you get your moments, you can sit down, take a deep breath, have a smoke, and find your happy place and then move forward. And
exactly.
Man, it's just fantastic.
And I think that's part of part of the Lord's, from my understanding, like he understands what people, like some people are going through in terms of pain, suffering. I think that like if you're going through anguish or you're going through like physical illness, like, and you need the substance in order to lessen that, then it's somewhat understandable. It's when it's taken out of context. It's when it's what like abusive, and there's people that will just will take these drugs, and then they're laying in bed all day, and just be lazy. I think everything's got to be in the right balance. Obviously, if you physically can't do these things and someone needs to take care of you, like, then that's completely understandable, because some of us are limited in the things that we're capable of doing. But then there are people that are capable of doing things, and they allow these things to overcome their will and make them make them um, into zombies, so to speak. I'm not sure that word. The worst med, I think, is what amplifies your anxiety. Same here for years. So yeah, yeah. I think the Lord. I think the Lord is very very understanding. Like, he knows that we're gonna sin, even though we're gonna be saved. Like, we're gonna, like, there's so many different things that we class as that is classed as a sin. Even the things that we don't even comprehend that we're doing. Like, so as they say, it's a multi-layered analysis. But going back to the UFO story, I was talking about. So the guy was going back out with his friends, and as he was discussing it with his work colleagues, they also had witnessed these like flying things in Oxford. And supposedly in the news there was like up to 1,000 people had reported to the police in Oxford of witnessing these lights in the sky and stuff. And um, so I think yeah. So last night I was having a little look to see, like, if I could find anything like in the media, like, to discuss the topic. And one thing that I came across was a news article from 2019. Oxford Academic argues invisible aliens are interbreeding with humans. There's
That's a scary thought.
Dr. Chi claims that aliens share our biosphere and are acting to overcome the effects of our climate change. He outlines his views in 2012 lecture and has since written a book. It says Dr. Cheat approached the Oxford Union to propose a debate on the subject. The proposal was not accepted. So wow, they didn't even want to have a debate on the subject matter. Oxford students had learned that Dr. Young Chin, instructor in Korea at Oxford Oriental Institute, believes in a strong correlation between climate change and alien abductions. Okay. Yeah, I hadn't really spent much time reading that. I just came across this wasn't actually the article that I found. The article I found was the Times. Aliens Oxford. It was like aliens are already here. It was the Times that I seen. Aliens are already here, breeding with us, says Oxford lecturer. Sorry about my poor English. Yes, no. It's basically wanted me to. Here we go. Asking how aliens would combat climate change sounds like a frightening left field question for an Oxbridge admissions interview. It is one that sixth formers will not have to tackle. However, as it has already been answered by a lecturer of Oxford who says that aliens share a biosphere and intend to colonize the Earth.
I got one I was looking up for you too. Let me see here. This one's pretty crazy. It was by the New York Times also. It says the headline is "No Longer in the Shadows. Pentagon's UFO unit will make some findings public." I'm looking for a comment because there was a comment that I saw back in 2017 or 2018 in mainstream media where they said that the Pentagon had admitted that they were in possession of I believe the almost exact verbatim quote was, we are in possession of off-world vehicles not made on Earth. And if you actually type that into your URL search line, it'll direct you right to the very first thing you come up on is this New York Times article, July 24th, 2020. But this information, if you go further back, this information was reported on either late 2017 or early 2018. And they admitted outright that they were in possession of what they called metamaterials from craft that were not of this terrestrial body, being Earth.
Sorry, what was that last bit?
I said that they admitted that these metamaterials and craft or craft parts that they were in possession of were not from Earth.
No,
not from this, this realm of reality as we understand it.
Well, one rabbit hole I heard about that may have some connection to it. It may just be ghost stories. Was obviously that we had the war in Iraq, and part of, from what I understand, with the war in Iraq was there's some ancient land there that was being looked after by obviously the governments there at that time, but that
one of the places I can't remember the country right now. It's right over there. I want to say Jordan. I'm pretty sure it's Jordan, where historically, it was said that Moses went there while they were wandering in the desert for 40 years and struck a rock with his staff, and the rock split open and a spring of water came out, and this is how the Israelites survived in a very arid place. And it was biblically speaking, even a lot of Jordanians believe this. They protect it. It's fenced off, and it's exactly as it's described in biblical text. And there's armed guards around. They didn't used to let people visit. They're letting people see it now, and it's been, I think, just in the last 10 or 15 years, they actually let people in there and film it and document it and put it out, to the world.
Well, supposedly, unless from what I've heard from my from sources, like this isn't fact, that in order for someone to get close to this portal or to these places,
portal, yeah. Don says a portal might be a portal there.
Well, it's also known as like a gate, the Stargate.
Stargate gateway
is another I think reference to it.
What do you call it? Einstein-Rosen bridge, a wormhole. That mathematically it works out. That's under this theory of special relativity, equals mc squared. But Einstein-Rosen theorized that with now this is a very rudimentary way of looking at it, but with the right amount of energy, wherever nuclear or solar energy, some large amount of energy could warp space. And we're talking about, I believe this folds right into quantum physics. But if with enough energy, you could bend space over in on itself and go from any point here in our realm to any other point in the known universe, if you had a destination in mind and knew how to control this technology or theory, not technology, but if you know how to control that theory, then you could go from point A to point B faster than the speed of light, which is the theory of special relativity, Einstein-Rosen bridge.
Well, because it also kind of goes into like the other
Stargate. It's all the same thing.
Dimensions, like
interdimensional travel.
Yes.
I mean, if you come from outside, like say, I don't know, like hundreds of millions of light years away, my humble opinion is just by sheer definition alone, you're going to be an interdimensional being. If you use a wormhole to get here, or Einstein-Rosen bridge, natural wormhole, created wormhole, however you look at it. You're moving. You're not traveling in the normal sense. You're moving through a dimension. So just by sheer definition alone, I would consider that interdimensional being, which
Well,
could
yeah,
be, it could be alien, but it could also be demonic when I
but that's the
express
same
my
thing.
faith into
That's the
this
same
same
thing.
concept. If I look at it from a faith perspective, to
It's
me,
demonic.
an alien is demonic.
Absolutely.
Not all aliens though, because if you read Ezekiel, it talks about something that's angelic, but it also talks about something that has movement and form.
But what we also know from the Bible is that the devil has dominion over every level of this place. So like he's in the firmament, he's in hell, he's on the land, so he's in the water. So it's like there's all these different and like obviously he's got his children, his I guess this kind of goes back to when man was mixing with animal and like and had to bring about the flood and stuff. Like there's going to be but also like I guess some of the angels may have been crossed into that cross species experiments of back then, and who knows if that's still continuing today. But from what I've heard with the Stargate is that like unless you've got unless your conscience or you've got to have some sort of like ability, mental like focus power, like unless you're up to a certain standard, that like you'd pretty much die. Like soldiers have attempted to get close to these buildings, and a lot of a lot of them have died.
Some of the museums or forgotten cities. ISIS did the same thing, by the way. They destroyed all kinds of ancient structures, and that goes back to warfare. They no, in Iraq or Egypt. Yeah, Egypt. ISIS, well, not just Egypt. There was I think there was a lot of stuff destroyed in Iraq. I saw satellite images of, I mean, they were using excavators, like modern mining equipment, to dig below the sands and to do tomb robbing for artifacts so they could fund their war. This was a big thing all over the news. It was all over mainstream. Yeah. They showed pictures of it and everything. You could find them on the internet.
I heard about it.
And they're not just robbing history, mind you. They were taking dynamite and stuff and blowing buildings up to erase, once again, under warfare, erasing history. Yeah. Once again.
And another thing that I think I was witnessing last year was like there was conflict happening in Israel. Obviously, they've been fighting.
There's always conflict in Israel.
There's been conflict with their neighbors for a long time.
Palestine,
Palestine,
but yeah, for sure.
But I think the development from last year was obviously the Lord's temple, and that that all of Palestine were being evacuated and murdered and arrested, like in order to reclaim that land and to gain control of it, because they obviously they believe in what the scripture has to say, that Lord's gonna come back and he's gonna take control of
Well, even Donald Trump got his hands in that mix with Israel by putting with the U.S. embassy in Jerusalem and moving it from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And I mean, that made a statement to the world, and it stirred up all kinds of stuff. I'm not saying it was right or wrong. I'm just saying that, with all the conflict that's been there, that's just one more iron in the fire, I guess making a statement or, affirming a position or changing a position that's been held. I don't know, but, in an area like that, in a region that tends to be that volatile, that's a pretty bold thing to do. I can say that for sure.
Sorry, say that again. I got distracted.
Oh no, I was just talking about Donald Trump, how he moved.
Yeah, he was going to make an embassy there
in Jerusalem and move it from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, and he made a big deal about how cheap he could do it and this and that. And I'm not saying it was right or wrong. I'm just saying that it struck me as odd because It's a very volatile part of the country or part of the world. And to make, those kinds of decisions, they have ramifications, whether unintended consequences,
Yeah, and
whether
they
you
know.
acknowledge it or not.
Yeah, no, and that's just it. They acknowledge it completely. And the same could be said for Biden. Biden's also said that there is no space between Israel and America, that they are side by side.
Hey, I got a question for you.
companions.
Dearest Dawn put up a comment. She said, anyone see the video of Freemasons drawing out the Earth and how there's a black hole sun under Earth, and that's what lights the moon? I haven't heard about that. Could she put up a link to it or something if she can access it? Would you be okay with that? I like looking at different perspectives of everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, throw up a link there, Dearest Dawn. If you got something that you can share with us, I'd be interested in looking at your perspective or that person's perspective. I like looking at every facet that I can find.
I got an interview.
Trump was staying in a position. So, what'd you say?
I got an interview to show you guys. It's going to get me a copyright strike. Trump was stating his position.
Are you monetized?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I don't know if it'll affect you then. I've done all kinds of stuff and I'm not monetized.
We get strikes. YouTube removed it. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of things that once existed and been removed, and I'm quite glad that this hasn't been, because it's very. I don't know if you haven't seen it. It's I might have to mute you a minute. Oh no, you got it muted. Sweet.
No sound, no sound.
Thank you.
And I just want to be the first one to say, we're going to miss you, man.
There you go.
Don't go, Jay! Don't go, Jay! Don't go, Jay! Thank you. This is thank you. This is for all the
Sorry.
You never lost your sense of humor, even through all the divorces.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. This is. Are you feeling okay? I know you had didn't you have your head removed? Because we had an operation of some sort.
Yeah, I had an operation. I was doing Dumb and Dumber. I was up in Utah, and I had a.
Dumb and
Dumber. Yeah, it's the next movie, and I had a gallstone, and I actually brought it here tonight. If you can get a shot.
Now, what do those look like?
Yeah,
they're white, like the little.
Yeah. I don't.
Oh wow, yeah, that's.
I don't know if you've ever tried to pass one of these, Jay, but it's no picnic, man. You really have to relax, you know.
Yeah, well.
No, actually, it's not a gallstone. It's just a cyst from my armpit.
I was gonna say.
The real surgery was a little more serious. It was a heart transplant.
Oh,
and
really?
If you ever go in for one of those, seriously, good advice, always make sure there's a donor available. Because I didn't have one, and now I have the heart of a small parakeet. Feel it, Jay. It's going like a trip hammer.
Oh, yes.
Do you have a cat?
Yes, I do have it.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I react sometimes to that.
Oh, really? Oh, I should go go over the house.
Just napping.
A hard time. Well, it's amazing that you can get up and get around so easily.
Yes, I'm resilient. There's no question about it.
Yeah. And it hasn't affected your mind. That's the nice thing about it. It doesn't seem.
Not at all.
Let me ask you. Did you ever imagine that it would get this ridiculous? Because I mean, I know you for a long time and you're doing this series. You know, you've been a star in TV before, but now it's like crazy. These people going nuts. Well, those people go nuts anyway.
the funny thing about it is I was always into this, visualization and
Right.
stuff, and I years ago, it's all good, and it's coming to me, and I actually wrote myself a check, and this is for real. This is not a joke. This is for real. I wrote myself a check for $10 million per picture.
See, this is
by Thanksgiving 1995.
Wow, look at that. This is the actual.
Don't wreck it.
No, I don't want to just sit there. There you go.
Yeah, the actual visualization does work, and of course now I've had to change my goals because I'm kind of getting close to that one. So
wow.
So I've been working on something. Yeah, this is new. I'm kind of into real estate now. Can you get a shot on that?
As you can see, it says Jim's World, Atlas of Jim's World. I don't know if he said the joke yet or not, but he said something about the moon landing.
No, not yet.
All right.
See, I just started renaming the cities and countries.
Notice how it's a flat. It's almost like a depiction of a flat world, the flat Earth.
There's Zimbabwe.
This is my favorite here.
Yeah, that's if everything goes right. A few years from now, a lot of people will be vacationing.
The Caribbean.
The sunny Caribbean.
Really? How are your friends?
Did you read Bug's comment there, Streets of Gold?
Yeah. I'm gonna try and find the joke. I won't play it for too long because he's absolutely right. Certain content just they'll pull me down immediately.
Analyzing.
Well, yeah, among other types of therapy that I'm processing, and I've been writing them down, and I want to wipe out a bunch of people flying into this fast food restaurant.
Relax. What do you do? How do you?
You're not really sipping it. Just
Sorry, guys.
Puppet. No, see, I didn't know. I knew you did the impressions. I didn't
Yeah.
know
That just made it really creepy, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, I can show you something.
Do you have a puppet?
Yeah, let me just take my shoe off.
Yeah.
This is a character I've been working on.
Kiss me, Jim.
Very nice. Lovely puppet.
I'm stinky.
Really? Yeah.
Are you afraid to kiss me?
No, I didn't.
That's a song.
Now, I mean, obviously there are special effects, but obviously they can't do the special effects in unless.
I do all my own stunts, you know what I mean? People pay a lot of money because they do it. They want to know I'm doing that.
This is still in his face.
This next.
It's a nice clip.
The
That's
mask.
very nice.
Is I can set this up. It's
Even his face just then, he's just absolutely hilarious. Yeah, I may have to define where it is exactly because I think I've already gone past it at this point. But he makes a joke. He makes he makes a joke about the moon landing and how people are buying it. He's like, oh, you hear the joke about? I'll tell you the joke. Was basically he said, have you heard about the one about the moon landing? Oh, about the moon landing and he said, and he's and they're basically laughing at us, like saying that, and it's like, yeah, they're buying it, and the laugh on the presenter gives is really creepy. Like it's just like a real evil like laugh, that only would only be brought up if you're touching upon certain subjects. It's a real belly laugh. Left pant leg pulled up, second masonry order indication. yeah, yeah. There's so many so many signs that they give, that like to everybody else just like means absolutely nothing. I did have a picture of somebody representing it. Another thing that's brought up was the black and white stripes, the duality. Another thing that is something that they believe in, and now he's wearing it there. Just another example of just putting it in your face. Their beliefs.
Hey, you want to see something crazy? I just pulled this up. We were talking about Jim Carrey, where he goes on Jimmy Kimmel Live. So do a search on YouTube, Jimmy Kimmel Live. It's a 3 minute and 41 seconds long. It's called Jim Carrey's Secret Hand Signal from Jimmy Kimmel Live. You want to talk about something that'll make you wonder, make you think about what's going on with hand signals.
Yeah, I've seen this.
Pull that one up. It's whoa, baby, whoa.
But he's a high priest, like in the occultus and ritual. It's the same with George Soros, and all of these names, these big names.
Yeah, they flaunt some of that stuff right out there in the open, and they kind of make jokes of it like it's nothing, but I don't know, man. It makes you wonder. I don't believe we got any sound there, Hoss.
I'm there chatting away to myself. I managed to.
Is it? Come on, Jimmy.
There it is.
The time is up. People are hip to this kind of stuff. I'm here tonight to blow the lid off it, to be the whistleblower. I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies. It is the secret symbol of the Illuminati, and
The Illuminati.
Playing laugh tracks because there's probably nobody in the audience laughing. They're probably about ready to fall out of their chair.
No, they're there. They're in the background. But what they're doing, they're giving cues to like laugh and like be that canned laughter. Like
I want everybody to be in on the joke, man. You know what I mean? For years now, talk show hosts, people on television, people in sitcoms have been hired by the government to throw you off the track, to distract you, to make you laugh and stuff like that, make you happy and docile so you don't know what's really going on.
Yep. It was
Join 8.
See, and you know, when you say about the laugh tracks or their cues, so I have a healthy dose of, I have a healthy.
Hit me up with the 88s free.
Right, ironic, right?
Yeah.
So you know, I always take it with a healthy dose of skepticism, and the reason I say that is because just because that there's two people sitting on the stage talking like those two clowns, just because they show you a studio audience back there laughing doesn't mean they're present in the same building.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true. They may even,
I take it with a healthy dose of skepticism because Hollywood is Hollywood. It's smoke and mirrors. The whole thing about it, all of it's entertainment.
well,
Entertainment.
it's
It's not
deflection.
fact or reality necessarily.
It takes us back to the title of this video. Deflection turn. I misspelled it.
Truth
I got,
bomb and all connected. Yeah, it is. I'm just responding to some of the comments.
I
Yeah,
got
that video will give you pause, dearest Don. It really makes you wonder what they're really trying to say. Is he being the funny man, or is he fed up with the lies like he says? I mean, you got to look at it and decide for yourself.
It's to make a mock from my understanding is to make a mockery of it and of us.
Yes, of us more importantly. Yeah, that's what it's always about, is defaming Christianity. That's the Christian's position, and that's the atheist position, from either side of the fence. We make fun of this. We use Christ or we use God's name in vain as a curse word, which Christianity is the only one they do that with, by the way. And then, just to take a separate position based on science and what they perceive as fact, and we take on faith and what we perceive as fact based on life experiences, actual spiritual events that have occurred with some of us, not all of us, but different experiences that either completely make us deny our faith, or in my case, the more and more experiences I have, the more it solidifies my faith. Depends on how you want to look at it.
Yeah, exactly. And they've been getting away with it for so long now that even if people do start to wake up and start protesting like they are doing with the secret source, that there's nothing that we're at a point where there's nothing they can do. We can't get people in those positions to take authority because they've got so much ammunition, they've got so many people on their side, controlled opposition, that are paid to kill in order to maintain the status quo. You're muted.
Sorry. Hey, well, I was going to say right there when you said paid opposition. Now, this isn't something I saw on YouTube. This is something I saw in mainstream media. Whether it was true or not, I don't know. You can't say it just because they showed it on TV doesn't make it real. But they were saying last year during all the riots from George Floyd, which what happened to that man was a tragedy. I don't care. They say he had stuff in his system. I don't care about none of that. You got a man in handcuffs. You don't sit there and lean on him like that. Bottom line, that was wrong. I don't care what anybody says. That's just my feelings on it, my thoughts on it. But the bigger picture is when all the riots were occurring all across the country in major cities, there was report after report of like whole pallets of bricks, brand new bricks from the factory being dropped off at strategic locations throughout the city. Now, somebody paid for that. Somebody delivered it. And apparently it's never been tracked down. It's never been, talked about again. Who put them there? Why were they there? Why did they happen to be right near where the riots are? You know what I'm saying? Just strange things like that. It doesn't mean it's so. It doesn't mean the bricks ever showed up. Just because they show you a pallet of bricks and said they were used doesn't mean it happened. But it makes you think about, the different sides, the different thoughts or schools of thought as it relates to what causes these sorts of uprisings amongst the people in this nation.
Well, like with I can't. One story that I've heard, especially with a lot of the guns in certain cities in like America, that people would wake up in the early hours of the morning and be walking through the town, through the city and stuff, and they would find crates of guns that had been like put in like alleyways and stuff, so that people can come across them. And basically increasing the amount of number of untraceable weapons that are not accounted for, so that there could be more people out there killing each other with weapons that are not licensed to be not so there's no record of that person obtaining it. So then there'd be like these mass killings that would occur due to the people obtaining these weapons, and that would help to then set the narrative to take people's firearms away from them,
The
because
problem with weapons is, and regulating weapons is, long before there was ever firearms, people were still being killed by the millions. I mean, the Spanish alone, when they came to the Americas, the number of people that died from warfare, but more importantly, the number of people that died from smallpox being brought over to this hemisphere and spread amongst the population. They say it killed 9 out of 10 people in the Western Hemisphere, just smallpox alone, and different types of venereal diseases that were brought over here. It's kind of stunning to think, regardless of guns or not, if people have it in their hearts to slaughter civilizations or communities or whatever, they're going to get it done one way or another. I mean, just not too long ago, I don't know, back in the 90s, I believe it was, in Uganda, there was a civil conflict.
yeah, exactly.
I believe it was Idi Amin. Idi Amin was a predecessor of the guy who came behind Idi Amin. They were brutal. They were brutal to their own people. They were cutting people's hands off who voted. If they voted against, they had records, voter registration, and now they know who voted for who. And then over there in that third world country, they were over there chopping the hands off of people who voted against the political party that ended up ruling by force, mind you, not by vote, but by force.
Well, those punishments are still going on today. Like when you go places like Dubai, you wouldn't dare think about stealing. You wouldn't dare thinking about
cut it right off. Adultery.
There was a guy. He was
they'll cut your head off for adultery.
Yeah, well, they sentenced this guy to 30 lashings, whippings, like
in public,
a crime that he had committed, and he appealed it, and they increased it to 40.
Just because he pushed back. In Saudi Arabia, it was like 15, maybe 20 years ago, there was a Saudi royal princess who was found guilty of adultery. A Saudi princess, right, high up in the royal family. They cut her head off in public.
Wow. And that's also going on in the gang cultures as well. Like there'd be like Mexican cartels.
Dearest Dawn, she says it's a sin to be in debt over there.
Yeah.
And like you talked about the public lashings, those still occur all over some of the Indonesian nations. There was an American back 25 years ago, I believe it was a young guy who was supposedly graffitied a poster or graffitied a building with some spray paint or a marker or something. And he got lashed with a cane in public, and they said, we don't care that you're American, you're here in our country, and you broke our law, you're going to suffer our punishment. And they did it anyway, despite what the government of our country had to say.
Yeah, well, and that's just it. They look after each other. Like there's celebrities that go over to those countries in order to perform rituals and to so that they can get some of that oil money. Like because a lot of these Saudi princes and stuff are extremely wealthy because of the land and the control over the people that they obtain.
Well, it wasn't just until here recent. I think they just changed it within the last few years. But if you weren't going to Saudi Arabia on business, you weren't allowed to be there as a tourist. They didn't allow outsiders to come in. You had to be there on business, and have to have a business relationship established, or coming there directly to cultivate a business relationship. You weren't allowed to just go around. You can't record with cameras there. It's not allowed because they do cane people, beat people, stone people, behead people in public.
Yeah,
and they don't want their brutality being showed worldwide. Yeah, but it still gets out. People there end up getting videos out of all this stuff. You can find it on the internet. It's all there. China, and they believe it. That's the way they live. That's the way they've lived for millennia.
China's another example of they don't want a lot of what's going on over in their population to get out to the main world and stuff.
The Uyghurs, the Chinese Muslims, they got over 1 million of them in concentration camps.
Yeah, and like and even Christians, people that believe like that are holding churches underground, um, they're being publicly shamed, or going into concentration camps where they're being indoctrinated to repent of their beliefs,
Hmm.
and
That's been going on for millennia too.
yeah,
Forcing religion down someone else's throat instead of letting them make up their own mind and say, "Do what we say, or we're going to kill you."
and
That's no choice. I mean, for me, it's a simple choice. I'll never renounce what I believe in. You're just gonna have to put a bullet in my head.
yeah,
I won't bend my knee to another man. I'll
no,
bend my knee to my creator, and that's the only person I'll bend my knee to ever. And I wouldn't look at him as a person, just as a divine creator or heavenly father. And that's the only person I'll ever bend my knee to. Only entity, or the way I believe. Man tells me something, I immediately look at it with skepticism, and I'm not trying to hear what they got to say until I make up my own mind. I'll hear what they got to say, but it's not going to be my truth. Ain't no
yeah,
way. Gabriel Iglesias' story of his show over there. No, I haven't heard it. I have to
no,
look
I
it
haven't
up.
heard it.
Write it down. Take a peek, see what I can find.
Even certain websites, they banned platforms like Facebook from even being accessed uh, on the internet in these countries. Like they have their own platforms and their own yeah, their own systems in place. I'm gonna put up that Freemason Revealed Explained video moment.
Hey, I'm probably going to sign off of here. I got some other things I need to get done this evening. We've been on here for a little bit. I hate to cut you short, but I got some other things I need to get moving this evening yet.
Yeah, no, it's getting on a bit. I'm probably going to
Oh, I don't care. I mean, I love being on here talking.
likewise. It's been an absolute pleasure to be with you all, guys. Thank you all for your
Here's
input.
Don, Mimi, Brainbug, if whoever's still out there. I'm not really sure, but thanks for showing up, and thanks for listening to our my jibber jabber. And I won't label him. Well, my jibber jabber. I just like to share my thoughts.
Absolutely, and like you said previously, it's good to hear other people's opinions, because as much as the things that I know, that it's good to obviously talk about our beliefs and talk about things that we believe to be true. And if there's somebody that can enlighten us with what they know, I'll still hold my my biases, because we're all biased
Dearest
in
Don.
our own way. But uh I'm definitely interested into hear what people have to say.
For sure. It's how we get there and how we figure things out. Make
Absolutely.
up our own mind.
And also the more that we um are open and honest in our thoughts and in our beliefs, we do eventually get to a stage where we even question that ourselves, or other people question it, so that we can really test its substance, because a lot of stuff that we say is misinformation. It really doesn't hold much context, and it's another reminder of how
Propaganda.
stupid and foolish that we are, that we're easily misled and deceived, and we
Sheeple.
even do it to us.
Sheeple.
Yeah, exactly. We are sheep.
Lambs being led to the slaughter
Absolutely. But we know
throughout
that
history.
um yeah, even when we die, there's going to be something waiting for us on the other side, and only by His grace, that we have hope.
Amen. Amen. All right. I'm going to sign off, brother. It's good seeing you. We'll see you again in East real soon. Mimi and dearest Don. Good evening, ladies. Pleasure.
Take care, brother.
See you. See you, brother Dan.
So yeah, I'm gonna spend a little bit more time with you guys. I'm not gonna go just yet. I'm gonna pull up this Freemason video. I'm gonna stay here whilst it's playing, because I don't want us to get cut off, because I know there's gonna be people on stream people watching that just want to report me for speaking the truth and for sharing content that's not exactly mine. But I'm not here to make money or to boast of myself, and think of myself as being so great. I mean, I know I'm showing my face whilst I'm doing this, but honestly, I don't. I I'm not doing this for the glory. I'm not doing this to make you guys idolize me. A lot of what I have to say and what I have to bring to you guys it is irrelevant. Because what I really want you to do is for you to learn it for yourself, and to think for yourselves, to always question things, and to follow Jesus as I do. Obviously, if you choose not to, that's entirely your choice. I won't judge you or try and make you think differently to the way that you already do. I'm just trying to bring you some food for thought and to bring some light to these crazy times. It comes with a flat earth disclaimer. I'm interested. I'm intrigued already. Okay, so I got the link ready.
We can see how he separates the oblate spheroid with a disc that has a hole in the center. Then, below, he draws a circle with a swastika inside and immediately paints it completely black.
So I'm gonna pause it here. We got Mimi C, keep it real, bro, and then we've got always researching. Appreciate you guys.
From this black circle, rays come out and 3 rays pass through the hole in the center.
So the Nazi symbol, from my understanding, originated before the Nazis even started to use it for their own. I could be wrong, but that's just something I would add. So what you can see here is it looks as though there's like this light emanating from this object. Some of it's being transferred through this open hole, and some of it is being blocked.
Below he writes, still. One of the possible meanings of this black circle may be the black sun.
And still, I could be wrong, means that it doesn't move.
He draws reliefs on the edge of the hole and writes North Pole.
Let's go back to that image. That's interesting.
Edge of the hole and writes North Pole. And above this hole inside what would be the celestial vault, he draws a star, the polar star or Polaris.
Well, obviously you guys have got this link, so you like myself. I'm gonna look at the rest of this outside of the stream. I do appreciate you bringing this to me, but I wanna get as much as I can on here before I get just in case I get cut off. I'll play a little bit more. I want to show another video. If I can.
He marks 2 points and connects them in a circle and writes equator. He draws 2 lines that go down from the polar star to the 2 points. The lines form a triangle.
Wow.
He highlights 2 of the rays coming out of the black sun and also forms a triangle, but vice versa.
And obviously this symbol here, this image that we see right here is is a symbol that gets used in the Illuminati. They generally put a G right here in the middle. Yes. It's an image I've seen before. It's an image I've seen before, and I'm sure you guys are familiar with it also.
As above, so below. It's one of the 7 principles of Hermes Trismegistus. It appears.
Yeah, and that's that. What is written just there was come to mind. These people believe in as above, so below. And one idea that comes to mind is like in the reflection of things. So like there'd be water in certain locations where there'd be an obelisk. So there'd be an obelisk going up into the sky, but then there'd be water nearby, and from that reflection, it's like showing the opposites, but the almost like the duality of it. So you've got an obelisk going up, but then you've also got one going down in the reflection. Yes, everything has a mirror image. Yes.
On the emerald tablet and then in the Kabbalion. He erases the intersections and draws the sun and moon.
So because the people that believe in the flat Earth, we know that these things, the moon and the sun, they orbit around. But what we get taught in school and what is understood in flat Earth theory is that they're rotating each other. So like the sun could be at one side of the Earth, whilst the moon's at the other, and vice versa. Like they both circling each other. The lesser sun obviously to rule the night, and the brighter sun to rule the day. Our reality is ruled by those this symbology represent
And he makes a gesture of rotation. He draws 2 arrows to show the distance of the moon and the sun. Both are 3,300 miles or 5,310 kilometers away.
How many? Two and one.
Both are 3,300 miles
2,300 miles.
or 5,310 kilometers away.
5,000. Because three numbers that 3,300. Three numbers that also get used quite a lot is 573. No, is it 57? Yeah, no, 273. 273 is the studio that was used to supposedly fake the moon landing. There's also Know Your Enemy. Obviously, when you add these numbers together, you get 12. And then you get the 2 and the 1, which means something to them. Like it holds meaning, which obviously leaves you with 3. The power of 3, which is got some Russian in there for those Russian bots. You're gonna have to tell me what that says. Well, yeah, that's half of that video. By all means, guys, check it out. Definitely looks interesting. And I'm sure once I start looking at that, it's also going to suggest to me some other videos in relation to it. Another video I'd like to bring to your attention. What I may have to do is to save you guys a headache. Yeah, save you guys from a headache. I'm gonna play it in the background so that I can skip through it, and it's not gonna.
Mean Gene, you get right to the heart of the matter with that question, brother. It's the love, man, that's gonna supercharge the mega powers and tear down the Twin Towers.
This man, what were your thoughts then?
Oh, yeah, Mean Gene, I can still feel the pain when that cold steel bit into Miss Elizabeth's wrist right there. And when her muscles were torn, my muscles were torn. When her
Elizabeth, Twin Towers.
was bruised right there. I felt the pain. Hulk Hogan felt the pain, and I can still feel the pain right now. And Hulk Hogan, that pain won't stop.
This is basically a warning. This was used in the context of what's to come. And from what I've been led to believe, that the events that are due to come this Wednesday, another 9/11 potential event, has something to do with taking down the Twin Towers. I don't fully understand the concept, but I know that it's it obviously holds some meaning, whether it's to do with science or religions. but yeah, at the time you just think of it as being silly. Like I probably watched this and just been like, yeah, these guys are like they're so dramatic, but Hulk Hogan's going to deliver a message in a minute, and it's quite disturbing.
Until the Twin Towers come crumbling down. Oh yeah, right now tonight on prime time. Yeah.
Oh no, I think I've gone past it, or it's another video that I'm thinking of. Not to worry, I will. I'll try and get it loaded for you guys. Was there another one? Masonry hand gesture. No. I'll just have a quick gander in the background. They tell us what they're going to do. Yeah, and it's given to us in movies. It's given to us in forms of entertainment, and and a lot of it goes unnoticed unless you're unless you're paying attention, I guess, to the current times and always holding these messages almost on the back burner, like because they are truly disturbing. I think it must be Hulk Hogan promo. Vince McMahon is in big with the Elite. Oh, I think it was this one. Not sure which one Vince McMahon was. Whoa! What? Oh wow! Get ready. Get ready.
In his corner, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and you know what people are saying all around the world.
I don't care what the people are saying around the world, man. I want to live forever, brother. You know, I'm not worried spiritually about this thing. I got my travel arrangements made. I got the deal upstairs already done.
His trail is almost as long as Clinton. Wow, Vince McMahon. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, Vince McMahon. He's the guy. He's the one that runs all of this, and like you see, like he's used in memes, like even today, like even Donald Trump is featured in the WWE, and the amount of symbolism with all of Donald Trump, and like how he even speaks about himself as like a third person is almost as though like I don't know that he's he is just a fictional character, and there's videos of him saying like I'm not a puppet and this, that, and the other, like and now when you look at it like after the fact, you're just like you're just a shill. You're just.
But it's morally, brother. Andre the Giant is the only reason I can't live forever, man. I've seen the little Hulkamaniacs. They're trained in the prayers, the vitamins. They're going to live forever. Hulkamania is going to live forever. And if Andre the Giant physically destroyed me, physically wiped me out, physically took the belt, maybe the little Hulksters wouldn't believe that you gotta play it straight, that you gotta keep your head high, man. Andre the Giant, Hulkamania will live forever. And in front of 93,000 people, brother, with the whole world watching on closed circuit TV.
Nah. That's not the video, but yeah, I'll do my research and be a bit more prepared for future content. because at the moment I'm just I'm doing you guys a disservice by bringing you this this low grade material. I mean, there is a lot of things we can speculate on, but unless there's true concept behind it, we're just going to be looking like a bunch of people with tinfoil hats. Not that people don't look at us that way anyway. But again, I'm not really that bothered at how I'm perceived, as long as I'm doing right by the Lord, and that's why I continue to look to the book. I'll start all is well. Yeah, that's why I continue to look to the book, because there's obviously I fear the Lord, and I don't really have much for what men think. I know by having these discussions with you guys today, I'm going to be upsetting a lot of people, and I'm not bothered whatsoever. Welcome, Misty. Hi everyone, I hope you're having a great day. Much love to you also, Ate Misty. Thank you for joining us. I hope you're having an awesome day as well. I think I just briefly stopped by your stream earlier while I was amongst doing chores. I seen you doing some baskets, so I'm gonna have to go check it out, because I'd be interested to learn how you get it done. But yeah, I'm gonna be wrapping up this live stream in about 10 minutes. I could have a look at the archive, because I have been keeping some clips to one side for moments like these. Oh, I got something that lighten the mood. Hopefully, put everyone in some into a good.
All right, I found you excited. All right, tell everybody your name. Oh, she's getting ready. She's got to clear her throat. Can you tell them your name? Star. Yes, I'm Star. Say hi. Can you say hi? Hello. That's nice. But be polite. That's sweetheart. Okay, let's start off with some animal sounds first. Can you do? Okay, got to clear throat. Let's do a wolf. Good. How about a bird? Can you do a bird? Good. Can you do an owl? Good owl. How about a rooster? How about a penguin? Can you do a penguin? That's a little bitty penguin for you. How about a chimpanzee? Good job, Einstein. Can you do a pig? Sometimes they get chunky. You think they need to go on a diet? How about diet? There you go. How about some tigers from the jungle? Yeah, they growl. What about a skunk? Stinker. Let's do some sound effects too. Spaceship. Good. Good. Spaceship with the laser. Yeah. Can you fall down? There you go. The little splat at the end. Does that hurt? Ow, ow, ow. Yeah. Maybe could you whisper? That's good. How about evil? Good job. Let's sing some opera. Let's sing some opera. There you go. Can you toot? Oh. Einstein, this is a lot of hard work. Is this a lot of hard work? Yeah, it's gonna wear you out, but we're not done yet. What do you think? No, we know more. How about fiesta? All right. Go crazy for everybody. Can you go loves to party. So can you just get down? Let's get down. Come on. Yeah. There you go. Goodness, where you at? You need something to drink? Here. No, you don't drink beer. You drink water. That's much better. All right. So you have to wait till later because I have a problem. What's the matter? What's the matter? You lost my dog. Can you call the dog? Come here. Come here. Good job, Einstein. I don't see the dog anywhere. I don't want this to be boring. Can you be boring? Oh, yeah. Well, we all love you. We know that you're famous. Are you famous? Superstar. Yeah. Okay. What do you say when it's time to go? Bye. Bye-bye, Einstein.
Oh, and this goes back to me. Well, on that note, guys, gonna be ending this stream. Getting close to that 3-hour mark. Thank you again for joining me and for subscribing and all of your input. I think we can all learn from each other, especially when we're having great conversations like we have been today. Being open and honest, and just talking about our beliefs. Because I like to create an atmosphere of no judgment. I don't think of myself as incredibly intelligent or wise. I just have a bit of knowledge that the Lord blessed me with, and I appreciate you guys for joining me, for showing me your content. I have got an email attached to my YouTube, so if there's anything that you want to share, I can do one-to-one interviews, or if you want me to showcase some of your content that you find interesting, I'll definitely be interested to look at it and to organize something. Blessing, there we go. Blessings all. It's how we get together. Yeah. Well, it's good to surround yourself with like-minded people, and yeah, I think we can learn from each other. It's better if we put our heads together and we become stronger. And also, like, we don't know, like, some days we have good days, some days are bad. It's nice to reconnect. It's nice to connect with people that appreciate your time, appreciate your honesty, and there's plenty of love out there. Sometimes we get into situations, or we are in a mindset that we can't shift a negative situation that keeps persisting us. So by joining conversations and just having a little bit of distraction can hopefully mend that heart. I'm gonna end with a prayer. Lord, I pray that you help the people that are currently dealing with difficult times. I want to thank you, Lord, for the things that we may not truly appreciate on a daily basis, like basic functions of our human body, and the things that we take for granted, the food that you deliver onto us, the ability to speak honestly and openly and have no fear of the repercussions, only to fear what you have to say on the matter. And I thank you, Lord, for the sacrifice of your only begotten Son, and that if it was not for his sacred blood, and that we wouldn't have the salvation plan that we believe in today. I want to ask you, Lord, to fill the hearts with your compassion, and to fill us with your Holy Spirit, Lord. I ask that you help us to know what steps we need to do in order to best serve you, and to do what we can to take the evil out of our sight, and to do our best to focus on you and deliver all of the glory unto you, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right. Take care, everyone. I hope I'll see you in the next one, God willing. Bye now.